All right, let's talk about something that can totally make or break your physical performance, the delicate balancing act between water and electrolytes. If you get this wrong, your workout could pretty much be over before it even really starts.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're going strong, and then bam, you hit a wall. That's sudden fatigue, maybe some dizziness, or those awful muscle cramps. That's not just you being tired. It's actually a huge sign that your body's internal balance is way off. So what's really going on under the hood?
Well, it all comes down to this one core concept called homeostasis. You can think of it as your body's master control system. Its main job is to keep everything on the inside, your pH, your blood pressure, and especially your temperature, in a nice, stable, happy range so your cells can do their jobs right.
The thermostat analogy is perfect, really. When you start to overheat during a workout, your body's AC kicks on and you start to sweat. And if you lose too much water from sweating, another alarm goes off telling you you're thirsty. It's this incredible system of constant adjustments, always working to bring things back into balance. And this is a huge deal because, well, our bodies are made of 50 to 60% water. So keeping that fluid balance in check isn't just about having a good workout, it's absolutely essential for survival.
But here's the thing. Water is only half of the equation. We also have to talk about the other key players, electrolytes. If water is the coolant, then electrolytes are the electrical wiring that powers the whole machine.
So what are they exactly? Well, electrolytes are basically minerals floating around in your body fluids that carry a tiny electric charge. And that little spark is responsible for, well, just about everything, from sending signals through your nerves to making your muscles contract. They're literally the spark plugs for your cells. Okay, so here are the major players. For performance, let's zero in on the big two. Sodium, which is king when it comes to regulating your fluid balance, and potassium, which is critical for making your muscles fire properly. When you sweat, you lose a ton of both. That's exactly why a long-distance runner might suddenly get a crippling muscle cramp. The others, chloride, calcium, and magnesium, they've all got vital jobs too, from producing energy to keeping your bones strong.
All right, so now that we know the key components, let's talk about what happens when things get out of whack. And the first, most common problem is, of course, dehydration. This is what happens when your internal tank starts running dry. Now get this, all it takes is losing just 2% of your body weight in fluid to seriously tank your physical and even your mental performance. Think about it. For someone who weighs 150 pounds, that's just a 3-pound drop. It's a shockingly small margin for error.
So, why is that tiny 2% loss so devastating? Well, it sets off this chain reaction. As you sweat, you're losing fluid directly from your blood plasma. This makes your blood literally thicker and reduces how much of it gets back to your heart. So, to keep up, your heart has to start beating faster and working way harder. This puts a massive strain on your whole system and makes it tougher to cool down, which is why you feel so drained.
So the effects you actually feel are pretty clear. That cardiovascular strain we just talked about, that leads directly to less endurance and less strength. Your body can't regulate its temperature properly. And it's not just your body, your brain takes a hit too. We're talking about your focus, your concentration, and your reaction time, all going downhill.
The good news is, your body sends up some pretty clear warning flares. It usually starts simple, with thirst and a dry mouth. But if it gets worse, you might feel dizzy, get a headache, or start getting those awful muscle cramps. And in really serious cases, it can lead to confusion or even fainting. These are absolute red flags you cannot afford to ignore.
But here's the other side of the coin, something most people don't even think about. Is it possible to have too much of a good thing? Absolutely. You can actually drink too much water, and that can lead to a really dangerous condition called hyponatremia.
Okay, so let's be super clear on the difference here, because it's important. Dehydration is simple. You're losing more water than you're taking in. Hyponatremia is the opposite problem. It happens when you drink an excessive amount of water without taking in enough electrolytes, and that dangerously dilutes the sodium levels in your blood. So here's the really critical part. When your sodium levels get too low, water from your blood rushes into your cells to try and balance things out. This causes the cells to swell up like water balloons. Now that's bad anywhere in the body, but it's an absolute catastrophe in the brain, where your skull leaves zero room for expansion.
What's tricky is that some of the early symptoms can look a lot like dehydration. We're talking headaches, nausea, dizziness, but they're caused by that cellular swelling. In severe cases, this leads to brain swelling, seizures, and it can even be fatal. It just goes to show you that more isn't always better. Balance is everything.
So the big question is, how do you stay in that perfect hydration sweet spot and avoid either extreme? Well, The good news is you don't need some high-tech lab. You can actually learn to check your own inner gauges.
Here are 2 incredibly simple, yet super effective ways to do it. First, just hop on a scale before and after a tough workout. If you've lost more than that 2% we talked about, you're officially dehydrated. It's time to rehydrate. Second, the old-school urine color check. It's a classic for a reason. You're aiming for a pale, lemonade-like yellow. If it's dark yellow or amber, that's your body screaming at you to drink more water. And that really brings us to the final thought I want to leave you with. So many of us are meticulous about tracking our reps, our mileage, our macros, all that stuff. But are you paying that same close attention to the very thing that fuels all of it? Your hydration and electrolyte balance might just be the single most important performance metric you're not tracking.